please subscribe. Toy box dreams tonight. Memories unlocked. Toy box dreams for life. Memories unboxed. Toy box nostalgia.
Howdy friends, and welcome back to Toy Box Nostalgia. I'm Douglas. In this video, we are going to be unboxing and reviewing and taking a super duper close look at the absolute brand new 2024 Mondo Sofubi version. Finally, Donatello. I've had Donatello since I've had the rest of them. You can probably see them on the shelf right there. Since then, I wanted to open my favorite last. This looks like that Playmates action figure, and I'm going to show you I do have one. Actually, I have two of the storage shell one too. We'll do a bunch of comparisons. It's going to be ultra fun, and I'm so happy because of how much I loved my Donatello action figure. I don't know why I related so much to Donatello as a kid. I'm an idiot, but listen to me. Wait until you see the paint application on this, and just, if you're a fan of Donatello, you're going to want this. This is beautiful. This is gorgeous. Mondo kills it. The packaging. Oh, it's like this giant blister card. And I've said this before, I feel like I'm just like standing in hills, right? And I'm waiting for my mom to pick out whatever she's gonna buy. And I'm just a little kid, and I'm just holding Donatello and just looking at him like, wow, I'm gonna get a third one. If you're new to Toy Box Nostalgia, you'd love to see more unboxing Mondo Sofubi content like this show up into your YouTube newsfeed, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. It truly helps out the channel. If you're a fan of Mondo Sofubi line, if you're a fan of Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you love Donatello, give me a thumbs up. I'd love you so much forever for it. It truly helps out. All of the stuff that you folks do, the little clicks and everything, it helps me out a lot. Drop a comment below letting me know what you think of this Donatello. Wait until you see this. In fact, let's just dive right in. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, by the way. Okay, my friends, so this may look a bit weird here for a minute because I'm super zoomed out. This is a very large action figure in a very large package. We've seen this package multiple times here on the channel, but holy cow, I have to give it to the artists at Mondo, whose credits are actually on the back. Aaron Conley, package art, and Jordan Christensen, package design. This is fantastic. I love the clear sticker on the front that says Donatello, and it's got that storm drain look to it, and it's purple to match Donatello. Each one of these stickers matched the action figure, or the Sofubi figure rather, that's inside the package. Very cool. We do see that we get just one accessory, which is his bow staff, and this is very, very heavy, very thick cardboard. I absolutely adore the comic book style art here, and I love the fact that they have like the dots, almost like it's from like the 1960s or 50s, or maybe from a newspaper print comic book. Just very, very awesome indeed. And we do have a part cut out here as we see the wall kind of exploded. Flipping over to the back, we've seen this multiple times. Can't wait to see what it looks like on the back of Baxter Stockman's packaging, which I'm pretty sure he's probably going to come in packaging that's very similar to the way Ray Fillet came. We do have Ray Fillet right there. We did open them up here on the channel, and we've opened up all the Ninja Turtles so far except for Donatello, and we've also opened up Mondo Gecko. So Mondo Gecko right there. Very cool. Can't wait to see what like the humans are like Casey Jones or April O'Neil even, or even the Neutrinos. They're gonna look so great in the Sofubi form. So I'm going to be using Cody from Too Much New Toys' method of making the flap, where you just kind of cut down the side here and then across the bottom and then back up the other side. You lift up the flap, and then you could take the whole bubble out and not really damage the packaging that much. You don't have to do any tearing of the bubble or the blister or anything like that, so I'll be right back. Here's the flap. Thank you, Cody. Works perfectly. And with Too Much New Toys' method, we have, in fact, my friends, preserved this beautiful, huge package in this amazing crystal clear bubble. I'd hate to just toss this because all of this goes together just so perfectly. So here he is in that magnificent, huge bubble. My friends, we've seen that this part just kind of comes off right here. Just a nice little soft, crystal clear piece of plastic. Let's go ahead and get this guy out of this beautiful bubble. That's all it took. That's all it took to get him out of here. Kind Kind of smells like a giant beach ball. So here's everything you get in the package, my friends. Let's zoom in a little bit, and let's begin by taking a close look at this Sofubi figure's absolutely stunning and beautiful details, my friends. Now, you may have noticed I turned down the lights a little bit just because these lights are very bright. Take a look at this face. Look at the head there. The bandana sculpt all looks really, really familiar, right? Almost looks like Leonardo's head sculpt. And I have all of the turtles here. We will, in fact, do a comparison here at the end of the video, but I love the white eyes, bright white, the off-white colored teeth, the pink gums. The sculpt is absolutely fantastic. We have shading on the top of the head right next to the bandana. Speaking of the bandana, I feel like I can absolutely see 3 different shades of purple. We have one that's more of a magenta, goes around the top, as we see right there in the top of the bandana here. We have a darker purple that's spray painted or maybe airbrushed, I don't know, all the way around it. And then this may be an optical illusion just because of how magnificent the sculpt is, but it looks like there's a 3rd darker version of purple inside of all of the creases of the bandana. Fantastic. Look at that eggshell textured skin. Absolutely phenomenal. I love it. I love the cross strap right here. I love the 2 silver parts right there holding it together. Absolutely love the belt. The belt colors are fantastic. The gray is like a stone colored gray, very neutral. And then we have that yellow D right there. It matches the yellow on his shell. We have a darker orangish brownish color yellow also spray painted into those beautiful details in the shell. This is so exciting for me. I'm so excited. So the protective gear that he's got on his arms and on his legs are all this nice warm brown tone right here. We can see that there's also darker paint that's been put on there to make it look like it's worn, or maybe to accentuate all of the wonderful sculpt like the creases inside of it. Take a look at that vein right there in his bicep. That's crazy. That's absolutely nuts looking to me. The shading in the arm, there's like a brownish dark green that's been airbrushed inside of all of those amazing details. Fantastic. Let's take a look at Donatello's nails. We see that it's like a yellowish brown color for all of the nails, including the toenails. We do have a darker color, and we do have some striations going on right there in the sculpt to make this look very realistic. Flipping over to the back, look at that bluish green shell. That is fantastic. We have some blackish green, which has been airbrushed into all of those details again, probably just to accentuate the beautiful sculpt. And then the rest of the strap, the whole strap, actually, the whole thing is like a soft vinyl for sure, and it's cast in almost a flat black. It's a little bit glossy, but that's okay. The whole action figure has a little bit of gloss to it. The bandanas seem to all have some gloss to it throughout this toy line so far. Let's move on to articulation, my friends. So we have 360 spin right here at the head, just like the original toy from the 1980s. We do have 360 spin at the arm, though the arm's inhibited by the shell. So this is as far as you're going to go until the bicep hits the back part of the shell here. Moving down, you may have to move his hand out of the way to keep going. Nope, we can see the pad right there is hitting the shell again. Now, I don't recommend this. Please don't break your Sofubi, but you can absolutely warm these up to get the arms out. We're going to mirror everything on the left right here, and then down to the legs. That's the only articulation you get, is the legs. Now I could show you the leg coming off right there. Very easy. It's like that with all of the turtles. It's very easy to get it off. You just kind of just work it in there and it just goes right back in. But that way, if you wanted to pull this out and use something like this, sticky tack, if you'd like to, for toy photographs or even display purposes, you can get him to stand with his leg more outwards or kicking much higher than he can right now. This is pretty much as high as he can kick. Finally, the wrists. So the wrists are on a peg for sure, and you could spin the hands 360. So the only cuts that we have is at the neck, the shoulders, the wrists, and right here at the pelvis in a V shape. That is all the articulation. It absolutely matches that of the original action figure in the 1980s from Playmates, minus the fact that this cut at the wrist was actually up here at the forearm, but every other thing kind of matches up really well. The original action figures did articulate a little better just because they weren't as bulky or as stout looking as this guy is. He's very husky to me, but at the same time, you know, whenever you're trying to move some of the limbs, it's going to hit off of things. For instance, this right here is actually hitting the back of the shell. The back of the shell, you know, they're turtles. Of course they're going to have shells. They're going to inhibit their articulation. His only accessory is, in fact, his famous bow staff. Take a look at this bow staff. Love the wood grain work right here. Absolutely amazing, and this looks really well done. So we have like a very light gray on the strap in the center of the bow staff, and then there's been a wash over it, maybe with a blackish gray to, again, probably accentuate the wonderful sculpt. We do have that same black inside of some of the wood grain right there. This looks like very old wood, but also something's very cool that I also noticed with the original sketch version that I opened up already here on the channel is that this strap must be really, really tight because you can see that the top and the bottom flare out of the wood. Either that or this has maybe some water damage on the ends, maybe from using it as a cane, like walking through some sort of marsh or something, and it's like expanding on the ends. But either way, the style is incredible. The sculpt, the paint, everything is absolutely dead on. Now he does come with this storage piece right here on the strap that goes around his body, and to get this in, because of those flared ends, they already thought of just, why don't we just make it so it could come apart, right? So what you do is just kind of slide one end in here. And again, we've already seen this here on the channel with that original sketch, Sofubi, that I opened up of Donatello specifically. So yeah, that's how it goes in there, and yeah, that looks awesome. There's so much personality in the actual design of the sculpt. There's the style of this figure is just bleeding personality. It's just coming out everywhere, and yeah, it's so easy to get a good toy photograph of these guys just because of how well crafted they are. I think Mondo's killing it, and I can't wait to see what's coming next after Baxter Stockman. Yeah, so this is how I'm going to get this into his hand. Same way as I did with the strap, just kind of take it apart and slide it into the hand through the fingers, and then if you need to, you can probably just warm them up. When you warm up the hands of these figures, I've noticed they get really, really flexible. Actually, let me show you one thing with Raphael. See what I did with his weapon there? I didn't have to warm up his hand very much to get it to actually do that. Like this soft vinyl, it's very rigid. It's very hard feeling, but once you apply any amount of heat to these, they do just soften up really easy to manipulate them, and you could probably let them cool off in that position, kind of like how I did with Raphael and his Sai here. Just thought that would look awesome on the shelf, and it does. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through comparison. I do have quite a few Donatellos that we can compare to the Sofubi Mondo version. So let's begin with height. First of all, obviously, the Mondo version's 8 inches tall, so it's going to be the largest, and it's the bulkiest. Very, very large. If you scale something up, it also scales outwards, obviously. This is the Super 7 Ultimates version of Donatello. I believe it was the first release of Donatello. And then we have the Playmates re-release of the 1987 Donatello here. And then we have the Funko Pop version of this Playmates version from 1987. So you can definitely see the size. This is such a very large figure. It looks fantastic on the shelf, especially with all of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures by Mondo. They just look absolutely fantastic. So does the Super 7 Ultimates. And I love this line so much just because of the sheer amount of quality, detail. The paint is great, and the articulation is crazy. A lot of people had issues with these ball joints, them being loose. Mine aren't. None of my figures are like that. I did buy them a little bit later than their actual release, though, so maybe they had changed that. But yeah, the articulation on this is truly fantastic, and I love these figures. They look fantastic in toy photography shots, by the way. Holy cow. This will always be my baby. This right here is what started it all for me. This is this is pristine. This is so perfect. He doesn't have he looks like he has a squishy head, but it's not really squishy. And the one that I have in the package, you can see this one, it kind of looks like it's squishy also. These look like to be pretty much exactly the same. I don't know if Playmates had re-released the different head styles with the squishy head and the hard plastic head, but either way, this is matte finish, so it does look really good. And one of the wonderful things about the Mondo Sofubi is that you could tell they're like pretty much absolutely based off of these original figures, just so that they ensure that that nostalgia hits so hard to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans. Now, the skin tone. Take a look, it's more like a green color. Like, it's definitely a lot more green than brown, whereas the original was pretty much just straight up brown. And the Super 7 Ultimates version, I feel like out of all of these comes the closest as far as the skin tone. The eyes are all very faithful to that original toy. The original toy just had white eyes. And I like in the 2012 cartoon, their eyes just turn white when they're about to kick someone's ass. Like, that's just, ah man, it's just so cool. So take a look at his teeth on either side, just like we saw with the Mondo version. Here's what the Playmates toy hand looks like. You kind of see it. And you can take a look at the Mondo version. There's definitely a lot more detail and more paint application. Taking a look at the forearm, the Mondo forearm is a little bit shorter. Again, just due to the size bulking outwards. The arms look super muscular on both of these. And the Mondo version has brownish, maybe a little bit of tannish brown color elbow pads and wrist pads and knee pads, whereas the original toy had blue. These are actually like a very dark, deep royal blue color. So taking a look at the belts here, you can see the original did have a D on it, though if you flipped it upside down, it just kind of looks like alpha, the character used in mathematics. And then over here, we have just a plain D capitalized. Not much styling there, but they both have the ribbon resemblance there. It kind of looks like a black ribbon, you know, that's on there. This has a stone gray, which I think is awesome. And if we take a look at the Ultimates version, you can see the Ds are actually a little bit closer than that of the Playmates, though the ribbon part that comes down, like the additional straps here, are much longer. And you can see the tone of the inner shell, or I guess the chest shell, front body piece of the shell. I don't know what you want to call it. They're pretty darn close there, whereas the Playmates version is a lot more brown. It's almost like a dark mustard color. And then flipping them over, taking a look at the shells and comparing the shells, the Super 7 shell is very detailed. I love the sculpt of the Super 7 shell. In fact, I think it's my favorite out of all of them that I have. Let's take a look at the Funko version. Yeah, see, the Funko version looks a lot like the Mondo version, and that's probably because those two companies, I believe, are related. So you can see the sculpt very, very close. The shell, that's awesome. And then taking a look at the front shell, and the straps, you could tell that this one's based off that original toy, whereas this just has one strap, has a little color there, the same stone gray as we saw, but there's no crossover on top of it like the rest of these. A little bit of a bummer, but at the same time, you know, this still just looks awesome. And I understand that Mondo wanted to put their own spin on it, and they had a fantastic sculptor. Holy cow. But you can see the teeth on this Funko version and the strap. This one is, as you see, it's clearly blue. And if you take a look at the original Playmates toy, you can see it's definitely blue as far as the eye mask goes. Here's the difference in these two weapons. The bottom weapon is from the Super 7 version of Donatello, I believe. And then this one is from the Mondo Sofubi version. You can see the difference in size. So as it grew longer, it also grew outwards, you know, just to compensate for the size. And plus it's super stylized, as we saw, which I love. Here is the Quantum Mechanics statue. My mother bought this for me for Christmas a few years back. Maybe it was actually 2 years back. And I took some really awesome photos of these. If you'd like to check them out on my Smug Mug, they're available for viewing. And I love the statue. I think it's great. But if we take a look at it, obviously nothing really matches except the bandana or the eye mask color. And I love the purple here, and I love those little straps around the wrists. Really like that style. Flipping over to the back, you can see their shells are absolutely completely different. And we could see just how much smaller this little Quantum Mechanics statue is compared to the Sofubi Mondo version. And then we have this. This is the storage shell version of that original Playmates toy that we just saw. And we can see the pink in the gums and the bright white teeth, very reminiscent to that of the Mondo version of the Sofubi here on the left side. It's just super cool. Now these pads and the belt even is all blue color. And again, we have purple. I like the purple more, to be honest with you. Even though it's kind of like a cartoon thing for me. Meaning, like, my memories are mostly of the cartoon rather than the actual action figures from the 1980s. Here is the original in the box. We see right there, this is the re-release of the Playmates toy. We see down there Playmates toys. And yeah, just I really wish that we could get a sprue like this from Mondo, even if the weapons don't come off. Or maybe use magnets. I don't know. I think it'd be a super cool idea. Here's another Playmates version of Donatello here. This is the original sketch version. And we already opened the actual sketch version here on the channel. I opened it up in a YouTube short, so if you check my YouTube shorts you could see it. This is beautiful. I think both of these are incredible. My wife purchased the whole set of these for me for Christmas. Here's a comparison of a Donatello from Turtles of Grayskull. I haven't had a chance to open him up yet here on the channel, that's why he's still in the package. I'm not an in-package collector, but all of that purple that you see, all of that purple right there looks really, really good like this purple. Like they're pretty much identical as far as the face mask goes. Can't wait to open this up. It's very exciting. I love the Turtles of Grayskull line. And finally, here's the Numbskull. I believe it's called Tubs, and I got these from Amazon. They're very cheap, and they are soft vinyl, and they feel the same. Like these are both like super duper light, but there's really no comparison. Even the purple's different. Every color's different. The shell is, yeah, not even close. So I don't know, these are a lot of fun, and I actually only opened 2 of these on the channel, so got 2 more to open, and it's kind of exciting. Finally, here is the NECA 1/4 scale Donatello. This is, I think, one of the only NECA things that I own, and that's simply because my wife purchased it for me for Valentine's Day one year, or maybe my birthday. I think it was my birthday. And yeah, you can see this one on the right from NECA looks like it's straight up from a cartoon, and the one on the left looks a lot more like the action figure, which I actually prefer. Not only do I hate NECA, I really like the toy versions of these. I like the Super 7 Ultimates version. They just look, to me, I could get so much better shots doing toy photography than I could with the cartoon versions like this from NECA. And the reason why is, to me, it was just much easier. Like, it's easier to find things that match this aesthetic and style. You can almost put like real life things in the shot. Whereas whenever you're trying to get any type of props or backgrounds or even the buildings for cartoon style stuff, it's a lot harder. You have to make it yourself. You have to make it look like a cartoon. Or if you go to purchase something that looks like it's from a cartoon, it's usually not the right scale. So this, again, these are just perfect for me, and I love these. So here is one last size comparison for you. Take a look at this 15-inch Scareglow next to the Sofubi Donatello. Very cool. This thing is just massive, but so are these. These are huge. Like, take a look at my hand next to it, right? Very cool. So I am happy that these came out. Like, the nostalgia factor is huge for me. When I first saw them, I was unsure as to whether or not I actually was going to collect these or grab them, just simply due to the price, first of all, and second of all, the room. Like, where do you put 8-inch figures? You know, that's gonna quickly take up a lot of space. But I had to just sacrifice some things just because honestly, these are gorgeous to me. Thank you so much for sticking to the end, my friends. This has been the Toy Box Nostalgia unboxing and review, and super duper close look at the absolute brand new 2024 Mondo Sofubi version of Donatello. I'd love to know what you think of this figure, so please drop a comment below letting me know. Also, just let me know, is Donatello your favorite of the Ninja Turtles, like he is mine? I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week, my friends, and remember, collect and shoot.